Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm joined with Kathy of Cinema Podcast and Amit of D54. Amit is joining us for Kathy's history lesson into older, good Indian films.
That's right.
So,
we all need help with that. We're all learning.
Okay, well, Amit, I don't think is a regular Telugu film watcher necessarily. So, the film we're going to talk about today is Goodachari. Written and starring Adivi Sesh, and it's one of my favorite Telugu films. I think it definitely has a Hollywood feel to it because Adivi Sesh grew up in California. The director, though, was Sashi Kirantika, who also directed Major, which also was starring Adivi Sesh. So Adivi Sesh hasn't done a movie in a couple of years, but supposedly G2 is coming in 2025. So I thought this was a good time to watch Goodachari, because obviously at the end you're telling, okay, we're setting up a spy franchise here, right? So what were your first thoughts about Goodachari?
Is G2 a sequel to Goodachari?
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's going to be in the same kind of spy universe. Yeah,
there is.
As soon as it's finished, I saw like, wow, okay, because this movie came out in 2018 and we're in 2024 right now. So I was thinking, oh, what a shame! Like, why didn't they make a sequel for this movie? It feels like this should have been made into a sequel. I think I read it was a commercial success. I really enjoyed the movie myself. So, and I was like, this seems like a kind of movie you would want to make a sequel to, because even watching it, I'm like, okay. Looking at the cast members and stuff like that, yes, I'm not so familiar with the Telugu industry, but it's not like a Prabhas or like a a Ramcharan or somebody that might be busy with other projects, or they might be like, this is something I'm not that interested in anymore. I want to change character. I haven't seen, honestly, this actor, Adivi Sesh, like anywhere else. I don't think. And
there's one role that he played. He played the son of Rana Dugubati in Bahubali. So like the one that's egging him on, in the bullfighting scene or whatever.
Yes.
So very minor role in Bahubali. Yeah. But this film, Goodachari, was really kind of his entry, big splash into Telugu cinema. And then I think part of the issue is he doesn't just act, he writes. Right, he's very, he wrote the story to this film. And I'm assuming he's also probably writing on G2 or definitely producing and involved in it. So that adds to the time, right? Like he's filming things and trying to write scripts. So I just feel like it's really interesting. Kind of, he's a multi-talent. We're so used to director writers, but it's interesting to have somebody who's so talented on both sides of the screen.
So good. I liked him because when the movie started, he just seemed kind of cuddly, and he, you got to look like he was training. He seemed like he was kind of training, and his mind wasn't really on it. He had the beautiful girl, and he had the kind of that was happening. So I thought, this is gonna be one of these, like, the nice guy kind of trying to prove himself, because I try not to know too much about him before I start in there. Wow, the transformation! Like what I liked about is he can do both, and he does them at the same time. And so he's being this super like talented. What would he be like? He considered a spy, I guess. I don't know what his exact title would be, but he's training to be a spy. So he's still able to walk that line of being the kind of nice guy outside of the job, and then still the really profound, the talented person inside the job. And that was really cool to me, because you could see him kind of like treading that line all the time, and it really worked. And loved the glasses. The glasses made it, because he was able to do like, I'm Tom Cruise, but I'm also kind of a nerd. They have the reason.
I mean, then they turn out to be sort of like Google glasses or whatever, spy glasses that are recording everything. Like, it's such a cool reveal at the end. Spoilers, sorry everybody. It's been out for 6 years, but spoilers,
Yes,
I think that's the thing that stood out this movie. There's so many cool scenes. Like, I think it's like during the interval was probably one of my favorite scenes, when he's on top of the roof and he has like a hose reel or something like that, and he attaches himself to it. Yeah, and he like basically DIYs like a bungee jump, and I'm like, oh my god,
terrifying.
And like the glasses, the callbacks to everything. Like, it was such a fun movie. It had like different gadgets here and there. And that's on top of like all the twists and turns you're going through. I say I'll feel like it takes like about 45 minutes to really get into this movie because I was watching it and going along. It's like, okay, cool.
The
This looks
romance,
like
the
an okay
setup.
movie. Yeah, like, father-son story. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, whoa, okay, we're changing everything. But then
the
it's
movie
good because
wakes
like,
up.
I was scared that the first like 45 minutes were going to be a waste because they didn't call back to anything, but everything referenced to the first 45 minutes is brought
Wasn't
back.
a
Like
waste.
from like, the actress or like the love interest was there, and what her role was and who she really was, to the comedic actor. I forget his name, but
Vanilla
I've seen him.
Kishore. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him quite a lot, but he turns out to be not just a comedian. He
I
turns
know.
out to
I
be
love
something
this
much
role for
more.
him because normally he's just complete comic relief, and here, like, he was actually integral to the plot.
So good.
They had like they had the red herrings with the whole time we're thinking, okay, it's the other lady, Qureshi.
Right.
She was the one who's
I
like
love that.
she's
So
the villain,
shady.
doing like the way they're sort of showing the camera, the whole father reveal, like we think this is the father, but no, it's somebody else. It's like so much of this movie to love. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of this movie because it's just
I know.
such a
So
fun
solid.
movie. It's so good.
Yeah,
And it
I
has
feel like the script is so strong. I mean, right there.
Well
And then it
written.
has so many of supporting actors that I love from, well, Prakash Raj is multilingual.
Oh, yeah.
He's in
He's
all
great.
different industries, but I love him, and he has such a great part here. I love that he gets this intro scene where he gets to be a badass with a gun and all of this, right?
I know.
And then,
So
then the reveal that the father is actually Jagapati Babu, like, he is one of my favorite character actors in Telugu cinema. He's so often plays either a very stern dad or a villain. Here he's both.
And it has that classic, like you said, you're following along. We've all been steeped in spy movies, a million Tom Cruise Mission Impossible and all that. So we're kind of, we see the rhythms, we see the beat, like you were saying, you're watching it, you're taking it for granted what they're showing us is linear, and we're doing all that. And like you said, the girlfriend and the cute thing where she takes the phone and she's, all of this matters, right? And then even when you go back, you're like, what? Like, so what I love about this is this is what Indian films do so well. You follow along, they have some twists, then all of a sudden the twist, and then the twist, and then all of a sudden it's building, and you're like, my mind is being blown right now. Like at the end, there's no way not to be like, what is happening? So I love that because they always blow it out of the water. It's so good, way beyond.
Well, and also the emotional impact, right?
Because we've all emotional. Yeah.
Instead of just having like 3 minutes of cute scenes with the girlfriend, we have a whole song. Correct. We have, we're invested. So what I think was so great because she just kind of has that vulnerable kind of look to her. She was great. And then when the reveal is, and like she gets shot and he finds out that, she betrayed him or whatever, and you're like, oh my God. And the fact that they kind of bring it back at the end, like, no, she was really trying to soft pedal everything. And
correct.
Like, oh, exactly. She's a
little redeemed. Little redeemed. Let's play it too. The minute I saw her and we had the great song, which I actually really love the song, we had the romance. I'm like, this girl's dead girl walking. There is no way she's going to live. She's too perfect. It's going too well. She's basically going to be a victim any second. And so when it happened, I'm like, damn it.
I know the countdown was starting and you're like, no,
it's like, you're dating a man who's a spy. You are going to be killed. It's like, oh my God. It was so I love that. But they did a great job in not just making her a victim. It became a lot more complicated, which I love that too. It's really, really
well. It had been 6 years since I'd seen this film. So the funny thing was that I had forgotten. I mean, I kind of overarching knew, like he goes into the tailor shop. Like I remembered certain things. I remembered that there was an issue with the girlfriend, but like I didn't remember the details, right? And I didn't remember a little bit of her redemption at the end. And I was watching it fresh almost. So that was really fun for me because I wasn't spoiled from my memories on not being able to enjoy all of the twists all over again.
That's true. And it was action packed. And like you said, I think a lot of it, the impact was so huge because there was all this emotion attached to it. And you were invested in all the characters. You cared about them. You understood the relationships. Even when the relationships turned kind of inside out, you cared and you were able to follow it. It wasn't just like, what is happening? Who's that guy? What? It all made sense. And they did a really elegant job of like just streamlining everything to be complicated, but having stakes. You cared about the people. You cared about the fallout from everything that happened. Had some kind of terrible, fallout action that created another action that created it. So I was love this movie.
Well, I mean, what I really loved about it is that you're like, oh, here's this little puppy. Look at him. He's so innocent. And all these things are happening to him. And then when the Plan B reveal happens in front of his dad, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I love to is like Plan B. He even says it.
Plan B. Smarter than you thought. You're like, oh, good for him.
So good. And also, don't turn your back on someone who you thought you killed that has a gun. Don't ever do that. That's just a rule. Like you shoot someone, they're down. You good. Phew, took care of him. Don't turn your back.
Yeah. No, I love
like
the
5 times in this movie.
Correct. But I do like the retelling of things that we think we have seen, and they sort of flip it back to us and be like, "Hey, I'm going to retell you this story here, and this is what it's going to be like now." So it sort of re-engages you because it was something you assumed at the start. It was like, "Okay, cool, this is fine," and then it retells you something. You're like, you're going on the journey again, and you're like, "Oh yeah, exactly." It's like, wow, that's what happened. Yeah, wow.
So
and it's just such a gotta give a lot of credit to the story writer, the script writer, the whole I guess writing behind this, because it's so engaging. Like it's just like you get to that part and there's not one. It really passes what I would say like the phone test. I would say like the first 45 minutes is like I'm just gonna watch the background, check my phone out. Okay, I can't understand what's going on. But after that whole scene, in the where they set him up with the bike being there, and you're like, oh okay, they're gonna set him up, and then from then it doesn't miss a beat.
Nope.
Full paced action. A lot of good action scenes. Some gunfighting, some martial arts. There's that cool scene where he's like, I think it's one of his partners has got like the
goggles, the heat goggles or whatever. Yeah.
And so that's right. And then he's just like with like the 2 guns at a time shooting everybody everywhere.
She's like 3 o'clock, so 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
that was great. He's like, I can see him now. It's okay.
I know. I love it. He sees the little kid comes running out. She's like, take the shot. And he's like, I'm like, you should have taken the shot. Because boy, a bunch of guys come running. You should have just taken the shot. But he's got a heart.
Exactly.
He does have a heart. I know. I did like all the gadgets in it too. I mean, it's still even now still feels pretty fresh. Obviously, Google glasses and things like that have existed, but I totally forgot that was a gimmick in the thing. And as you said, he looks so cool with the glasses, and you're just kind of like, what?
He's in disguise. He's putting on the glasses. No one will know who he is.
Yep.
It was so funny. I know. I'm like, why is he wearing? I remember thinking the glasses have to be something because it's weird that he's wearing them, even though they look really cool. And I thought you're trying to nerd him up a little or something. Yeah, it all matters.
Well, I couldn't remember. I'm like, did he have those on before he took over the policeman's uniform, like tied him up to steal the the officer's uniform or whatever? I was like, maybe it's just part of the costume. And then,
so good. So even though you're hearing a lot of spoilers, we're not giving away everything, but you're hearing a lot of spoilers, it's still totally worth the ride. Like Melanie said, you're going to get everything we said. You're going to be all invested in watching this. It's going to pull you right along. And I wrote to Melanie first time, Tom Cruise is going to be so jealous about this movie. He's going to wish he made this movie. Probably will. He's like, well, I'm done with Mission Impossible. What else can I do?
Well, it's
I'll do a remake of this.
I mean, it's like early Tom Cruise, right? It kind of has that feel of, young kid, anxious to be a spy, whatever. And also the whole tailor shop thing. I'm blanking on what. There's the English spy films that have that whole thing too, where they go into the tailor shop and there's something in the basement. Everybody in the comments is going to remind me what that is. I know Henry Cavill, I think, was in one of those. But anyway, there's that whole thing. So I love that he's sort of giving nods to other spy franchises. But it's definitely still very much an Indian story. I love that. But I think I think both he and the director, studied in the U.S. And I definitely feel like it has an Indian feel, but it also very much has a Hollywood feel to me. Like there's a slickness, very slick, very well written. Not necessarily, we have the emotional moments, but we're not like milking them to the nth degree. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying it. But it also just, again, back into the writing is just so strong, so strong. So I'm excited for G2 coming out in 2025. Can't see what the next adventures of Gopi /
Gopi. Exactly.
So, and in looking up the name of the director and more about this film on Wikipedia, I did not realize that the name of the film and also his spy number 116 is a
Oh.
tribute to a 1966 movie starring Krishna called Goodachari with a U, Goodachari 116.
Oh,
So it's
little
a
inside.
homage. And I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
he asked the actor from that film if he wanted to do a cameo. He declined, but
Oh,
you know,
okay.
he
That would
allowed
be
him,
cool.
you know, to do the homage, which I love that too.
that would have been awesome. Oh, that would have been awesome. No, this was a
Very cool.
totally fun to watch, and recommend to anyone, even if you think, oh, but Indian films, are they gonna be too hard? No, super slick,
No,
super Hollywood.
no.
You will love
Yeah,
this
yeah.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah, if
totally
you're in
love
the
it.
No, this
US,
movie is.
it's on
Yeah.
Amazon
Yeah.
Prime. I'm just because we have Kathy, I'm going to flash the poster.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Great
so
poster.
to me, it almost, I guess everything is turning to guns, but it almost looks like he's a robot or something, right? Like it's got,
Yeah, yeah,
it has a very kind of sci-fi feel, like he's an android and there's his barcode, like
Yeah, yeah, it kind of does, especially the glow in the sunglass in the glasses, which is a little bit of a giveaway, but
yeah. But
I
anyway,
also like how I wish they'd take a little more advantage to make the guns a skyline, even though I think there were like I think I
Oh,
read
yeah,
there was
that'd
like
be cool.
168 locations in this movie. Like they were all over
Whoa.
the place. I know, insane. But that would have been cool to kind
Wow.
of combine the guns and the skyline. But there's a lot of guns in it, so it wasn't lying. And it's a good shot of him.
Mm.
yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
good
yeah,
shot
yeah.
of him
Very
with
good
the
shot
cool
of him.
glasses.
Yeah, it's in the glasses that we love so much.
All right,
Yeah.
Kathy and Amit, thank you
Alright.
for joining me on
Yes.
this look back at Goodachari, one of my favorite Telugu films
So
from
cool.
2018. Remember, you have to subscribe to all of our channels, Cinema and Podcast and D54, because we're on each other's channels doing trailer reactions and film discussions. So you have to subscribe everywhere. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.